How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com. If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
Welcome to the Imagine More Success radio show with Cindy and Thomas. We're so happy that you could join us today. We've got a really fun guest coming up a little bit later in our next couple of segments. And Cindy, really glad to have you here today. It's always a pleasure to be on the line with you.
Hey, right back at you, Thomas. What a great week it's been here for us.
It has been. It's been a really great week, and we've had the opportunity to spend a little bit of time actually asking ourselves a question that we're going to ask you, the listener, today. What is it that you really want?
It sounds like a teaser for our fourth segment.
It certainly does. You know, that's something that we're going to be talking about a little bit later as well. You know, Cindy, in this entire process of developing Imagine More Success, first as a podcast and then as a radio show, you know, we've really found ourselves asking ourselves that same question, right? What is it that we want? What is it that I want? What is it that you want? Before this process, how much time did you actually spend asking yourself what you wanted?
Well, you see, for us, Thomas, I think the title of what we're working on as business partners and radio show hosts is, you know, all of it in a nutshell. It's Imagine More Success, because I've been doing that since I was a mid-teenager.
You know, I had to tell you something. In my personal experience, and I think there's a lot of people who have this very similar type of experience, I didn't always feel comfortable kind of desiring things and wanting things. I felt like I was being, in the wrong to do that. Like it felt wrong to want too much or to want too many things or to have too many goals and successes. And it's a really kind of odd place to be, but it's a really great place to leave behind.
Well, I'm sure glad you got over that nonsense, Thomas, because you are an amazing human. And we are just doing so many great things, not just for developing what we're really good at, but sharing how other people can be really good at life and in business.
Yeah, and so we just want to ask you today, take a moment in your day and ask yourself, what is it that you really want? Because that is something that really resonates with figuring out not only what you want, but who you are. And boy, aren't those two interrelated? They're really something that works together.
They really are. And what's really interesting to me, Thomas, is that you and I are so opposite in that. What I would say, even as a young teenager, is get out of my way. I am going for it. And I really have always kind of been that way, even with bosses when I was working in corporate management. And I think I told you the story of how Ernie, my boss, said, Cindy, you're aiming too high. Your goals are too high. And I said, get out of my way, because if you're not going to promote me with my high goals, then I am going to be going to looking for another job.
You know what's funny? It's really funny that I think if I look back on it and I think about where I was as a youngster, I think that my figuring out what I really want around money was specifically the thing that maybe I had a little block against, because everything else I was okay with, whether it was setting a goal in music or setting a goal in academics or setting a goal in sports. I never had any problem setting the highest goal and then working towards them and achieving them. I really think it was kind of a money-based thing, which really plays into the idea of wealth and business and career. And so I don't think I'm alone in this. I think there's a lot of people out there who have some of those similar blocks.
Well, I guess I just never had anything that I felt could hold me back. I was always very, very independent. And I remember, I think I was like 12, and I wanted some money, and I borrowed $25 from my mother, and I said, I'm going to go buy a lawnmower. And then I contracted a landlord who had 12 properties, and I mowed all of his lawns.
That's amazing. That
I
is
wasn't
truly
incorporated
amazing.
yet, though.
Luckily, there's probably a statute of limitations with the IRS. So if you're listening, just let that one go by if you don't mind.
Exactly. But somebody asked me the other day what my first business was, and I'd forgotten about the lawnmower business because, it was kind of fun being outside as a kid in the summertime especially, and, collecting all that cold cash.
I can just imagine. Oh my gosh, I can imagine you showing up at someone's door. They'd be all too happy to have you do that for them. That's really
Well,
funny.
even though I'm kind of a feminine looking woman, I was kind of a tomboy when I was young because my neighborhood was filled with boys. And, to compete, you had to step it up. And so even though they could probably beat me at baseball and stuff like that, not one of those boys could beat me at the pinball machine.
Pinball wizard, huh? Oh my gosh. Didn't know there was a song about you like that.
I know, huh? But you know what? It really did help a lot with eye-hand coordination. So, with driving in California, it comes in real handy.
Yeah, if you're not busy dodging cars, you might be busy dodging some little animals running across the street for sure.
Exactly. But when you start out young like that, it's really easy to be able to figure out what you really want. And some people on the other side of the scale, like you, Thomas, I can see how that might be challenging, which is what our courses are all about, to help people find the sweet spot of life to where they can really figure out what they want and how to go about it, which we're going to talk a little bit further on that in the fourth segment.
Absolutely. We've got a really great guest today who's going to be on a little bit later in the show, Dr. Rich Greene, who is from the Ironman Mind, who is a 5-time Ironman triathlete and marathon swimmer, and he's going to be telling us all about how he helps clients and also some of the tips, tools, and tactics that he utilizes in order to put his clients to the next level.
Rich is an amazing guy, and I am really excited to share for our Northern California folks listening out there that we are having a in-person networking group at the Roseville, California location of the Executive Suites, and anyone who's interested is welcome to attend. We have a large room if we need it.
That'd be cool. Yeah, if you could go join Cindy, that'd be a lot of fun. Definitely a great time to meet her, meet a lot of other really awesome business people from that part of the world.
Yes, it's the fourth Tuesday of every month, 7:45 a.m. for you early birds out there at Roseville Executive Suites on Melody Lane.
Cindy, let's talk a little bit about, again, we're talking about kind of what you want. How deep of a desire is it to have the most important parts of your life? Like when you talk about your level of desire, scale of 1 to 10, what is it?
Well, I would have to say people who know me would say I'm about a 15.
Right, exactly. I would have to agree with that.
When I have interest in accomplishing something, there's very little that gets in the way.
Yeah, that's something that I think is really important. And I've been listening to this radio program recently, a classical music program on Sundays on NPR, and they play these young violinists, pianists, people like that who are, still in their teenage years, and they're performing these amazing works in studio. And when they talk about their own experience, they usually start off talking about how they just kind of wandered into music. And as they began to learn how to play and practiced and spent so much time perfecting their craft and their art, it became an integrated part of their life. And so it went from something that was just on the outside of their life to becoming integrated. And once it became integrated, it became so important to them that they could do nothing else but to succeed.
Well, I think part of that is where I have read that music hits on a certain part of the brain that is very, very powerful, and that's probably why it's such a drive for especially young people. It probably releases some kind of an endorphinal fix that makes them continue to go back to that to be able to accomplish such amazing things.
Well, as I keep hearing these stories over and over and over again, I realize that this is a pattern that most successful people incorporate into their lives, whether they do it purposely or not. And it's something that you can use as well. When you find something that you know that you really desire and that you want, that desire and that want can just begin the simple process of the daily task, the daily motion, the daily work that will eventually begin to integrate this significantly larger concept into your life, and then it becomes self-perpetuating. The big desire fuels your daily work, and then your daily work begins to fuel your big desire.
Well, I will share a story in the fourth segment today of the beginning of my place in life when I really wanted something in business when I was just 5 years old.
Wow. Absolutely. I'm going to hold you to that one. I definitely want to hear about that.
I know. It is pretty interesting. It was in my grandmother's restaurant and bar.
Well, we know there's some great stories there.
It's a clean story, Thomas, so don't go there.
I'm already holding my breath. I'm so sorry about that. I just never know what's going to happen with these stories. I have no idea.
I know, huh? Or yours. We can't even talk about some of yours.
I try to keep some of mine. I try to keep some of mine maybe tuned to like a G rating rather than an R rating, if nothing else.
They're interesting nonetheless.
Absolutely. So I do want to give a shout out to a friend of mine actually made just a couple weeks ago. His name is Farmer. He is from California, originally from Canada. And we met at the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs, Nevada. Farmer, if you're listening, we just want to say hello and thank you so much. He is actually partly responsible for today's show. And thank you for the inspiration to help get me to where I needed to be today. Really appreciate it. And, Cindy, that's one of the amazing things about working in our business, that we have the opportunity to meet so many incredible people. And as much as we work to help other people to get to where they want to go, it's amazing to also just meet people who bring us right to where we need to be as well.
Well, it just kind of makes you believe that there is a plan for us, doesn't it? Because things don't just happen, or do they?
Good question.
That sounds like a good topic for another show, doesn't it?
I think it's going to have to be. So we want you to stick around in just a couple of minutes. We're going to be back with Dr. Rich Greene. He is a 5-time Ironman triathlete and marathon swimmer. You can find it at ironmanmind.com. He's got over 30 years of experience as a corporate sales executive. He's an author, business coach, and entrepreneur, and a researcher in human potential. So if you can come back with us in just a moment, you're going to learn how he studies success factors of all those amazing top leaders in industries and help them develop systems that all professionals can use to create unparalleled success in your career and your personal life. So do stick around. How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? Have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hides' life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
You are back and you're listening to the Imagine More Success radio show. Today we're so happy and glad to be able to bring a really amazing guy to you today. Dr. Rich Greene, 5-time Ironman triathlete, the owner and founder of Amplifier, a business and coaching consulting company. Thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Rich.
Hey, Thomas, thanks so much. Cindy, good to see you as well, or hear you as well. And I'm looking forward to talking with the audience today.
Great. We're thrilled to have you. You have so much to bring us and some really interesting stories I'm sure everybody's going to want to hear.
Dr. Rich, take a moment and tell us a little bit about how you helped one of your clients. You have a fascinating story.
Well, first of all, Thomas, let me tell you, I work with all kinds of people. But the particular client that we've got today is a young man, 28 years old, and just absolutely amazing. This guy was amazing with the things that he wanted to accomplish, but just didn't know how to get there. So a young guy emigrated from Vietnam, worked for a Fortune 500 technology company, was an engineer, and he wanted to do something for the people of Vietnam, for the people that he lived with and for his family. And he realized that he lived in really the land of opportunity, the United States, and that we think very differently here than they did in Vietnam. And so, though it's an absolutely thriving country now as far as manufacturing is concerned, some of the mind principles, the success mind principles that all of us tap into that are on this call, and then you guys, and that this young man did as well, the people of Vietnam were not used to, or had not been introduced to them. So he wanted to start a business. It was an outsourced IT business, and there were some very talented people that he had identified. So he was going to bring this outsourced business to the United States. The work would be done in Vietnam. But he realized that one of the things that was really lacking amongst the people that he worked with there were leadership principles. And so, you have to lead yourself first, right, before you can lead others.
Yes,
and,
absolutely.
He had some great self-leadership principles, but he didn't know how to communicate. So here's what he wanted to do. In a year, he wanted to start this business, and then he wanted to also teach people how to be good leaders, good stewards of their community, and to be able to lead themselves and lead others to success and prosperity. And so,
that's a very lofty goal, very lofty.
Yeah, very, very lofty goal for a 28-year-old.
Well, and leadership is not an easy thing to teach.
No, it is a lifelong learning process. You can't learn to be a leader by reading a book or going to a seminar. It doesn't happen in a day. It happens day by day. So this guy, he recognized that, and he knew that he needed some skills. And so we spent some time together. We sat down. We did an assessment of where he was at with his skills. And then we put together a one-year plan. It was pretty exciting because he wanted to create this business. He wanted to travel back and train people to be leaders. He wanted to become a better leader himself. And we realized that he needed to get some training. And so in a year, we put this 52-week plan together, and then we broke it down into 4 12-week plans. And that's how we focused our attention. And so one of the first things that he did was go get leadership training. He worked with the John Maxwell Company, which I'm also a member of. I'm a John Maxwell certified leadership coach.
Well, they don't get any better than they don't get any better than John. He's an amazing guy.
Absolutely. And you know,
and as nice as he is smart, by the way.
He is. I've had the opportunity to work with him directly with him and be trained by him. And so I brought this guy to the John Maxwell Company, and he, in a very, very short period of time, he compressed a year's worth of training into 3 months.
Wow.
Absolutely fascinating. Got certified, spent time with John Maxwell and with John Maxwell trainers, got certified, got the tools that he needed, and then he flew back to Vietnam in that 1 year period 6 times to begin to build his business.
Very cool. What's the result of his work with you? Tell us about it. Tell us about his business.
Well, this was the cool thing. And again, I think I want to point out the time frame that all of this happened in. So he developed himself, then he began to develop other leaders, and then he developed this outsourcing business that today employs over 200 people.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. So he's been able to improve the lot in life for his family back in Vietnam and for his community, and it's just continuing to grow and grow and grow. And those leaders that he has trained are going out and training other people to be leaders, and these other people are starting businesses, and it's just absolutely fantastic. It's fascinating.
So how does it feel, Rich, to be a person who has changed so many lives?
Well, it's funny when you talked about earlier in the segment about the things that you wanted to do. The thing that I identified that I always want to do is I want more people to find the success that they deserve. You know,
Exactly.
We all deserve success, but sometimes you just don't know how to get there.
Well, and the sad thing is, don't you agree that many people are fearful to ask for help?
Yes, there is a culture that if you don't know what you're doing, that you're viewed as incompetent. So a lot of times people hide the fact that they don't have the knowledge. And smart people will go and ask questions. They will actually expose their weaknesses, and they will find ways to work on them and strengthen them.
And that's where the success comes, because the smartest people in the world still have blind spots.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And the smartest people in the world still get trained. They still have coaches and mentors, and they still continue to grow.
Exactly. Well, I just think it's amazing that you were able to help people in a third world country in the hundreds make such a huge difference in their lives.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. I never dreamed that what I do would reach beyond the shores of the United States of America.
Well, we've certainly become a global company of people, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Dr. Rich, take a moment and tell me a little bit about what the contribution of personal leadership has in store for the bigger global community.
Well, you know, I think you guys will all agree, we are at a real shortage for true leaders in the world. You don't have to look very far to see a lot of the problems that exist today are really problems of leadership.
Well, I was just thinking what an understatement that is.
No kidding. So leadership is everything. Everything rises and falls on leadership. I mean, if you talk about wanting to be successful or build a business, you have to be able to lead yourself. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And that's one of the areas that every single business person or business executive that I work with, that's one of the things that we work on immediately. It's the self-leadership. It's the skills that you need to be able to lead yourself daily so that you can effectively lead others.
Rich, take a moment. Tell us a little bit about some of the skills that the listeners can actually begin to incorporate today to begin kind of improving their own personal self-leadership.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the biggest skills that people can master is daily productivity skills. What you decide to do with your day and how you use the time in your day. And so this is an area that I find universally, absolutely everybody struggles with, because we're so busy today. We've got we're deluged by so many forms of media, and everything from texts to emails to phone calls to advertisements that we see. Do you know that the average person sees over 10,000 advertisements a day?
It's incredible. 10,000. That's an insane number.
Yeah.
And that isn't even addressing the issue with focus and concentration today.
No, and that's really causing a real problem with focus and concentration. So the biggest thing that people can do is learn how to be productive in their day. And so here, if you like, I'll just share a few of the things that I work with others on that help them be more productive and more focused.
Yeah, please go for it.
Well, one of the first things that we always look at is, how are you using your time? And so I have a program that I help people to analyze what they do during the day, the time that they're spending activities. You can't manage time, but you can manage the activities that happen within that time. And so I think you may or may not be surprised by the amount of time that people watch television. And now it's binge watching Netflix.
You're right. That's really funny you said that, but I think Netflix might be responsible for having people sit down and watch more television than ever.
Yeah, and even I have to admit that that I binge watch shows, but and there's a time and place for that.
Sure,
absolutely. But the average person watches about 3.5 hours of television a day.
A day.
A day.
Wow.
Well, the good news there is there aren't that many quality shows on television anymore, so that maybe can cut some of those hours down.
So you look at television, you look at how much time people spend on social media. Social media is a little over 2 hours a day.
Wow.
On social media. Start adding that up. You got social media, phone calls, texting is huge. There's almost an hour a day spent in answering and sending texts. So you start to think about those different things that people do, and you have to question: are they helping me be the most productive that I can be?
Well, Rich, here's my dilemma: is that it takes me time just to figure out where someone's sending me a message.
Well, we're going to come back in just a moment. We're going to talk more about some productivity tips to help you gain more hours in every single day and more hours every single week, so that you can begin to imagine more success and find a lot of happiness in your life and find yourself achieving the goals that you really want to achieve. So we've been talking about figuring out what you really want, and now we're going to help you figure out how to do it. So stick around. We'll be back in just a moment on the Imagine More Success radio show. How would your life change if you could develop the business and personal skills that you need in order to make more money? Do you want to learn how to achieve your big life goals faster? Then go to findhiddenmoney.com and get the Goal for It online course. The course teaches you how you can set and achieve your biggest goals while completely overcoming the roadblocks to your goals, so that you can realize your dreams and imagine more success. Go to findhiddenmoney.com.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Did you expect your business to flourish, but instead it plateaued or didn't get off the ground yet? Would you like to achieve massive goals and discover new sources of income within your business? When you're ready to experience that type of success with fast results, Cindy Hendricks is the business coach for you. Her work with entrepreneurs and business owners has been life-changing. To get you and your business where you want to be, go to imaginemoresuccess.com.
Has the fear of public speaking stalled your business or personal life? What would you give to develop and maintain supreme confidence? have an invaluable private program to always perform at your best. Imagine how you would feel. You can have all that and so much more today with Thomas Hyde's life-changing course called Number One Fear Unleashed. Visit numberonefear.com and be liberated from your fear of public speaking.
You are back on the Imagine More Success radio show, where we just had some really fun music to lead us in. And we've been talking to Dr. Rich Greene, who is a 5-time Ironman triathlete and marathon swimmer. We've had a really fun segment where we learned about how he was able to assist one of his clients to start this amazing IT company in his home country of Vietnam and give back to his community by employing over 200 people. It's really, really great story, Dr. Rich. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for allowing me to share that.
Yeah, you also were.
That just makes my heart happy with how you help those people, Rich, because I'm telling you that there's not enough of that in the world. And to me, that's a huge part of leadership, is how you can help others less fortunate. It's just the heart of leadership, in my opinion.
Well, thanks, Cindy. That's my mission.
And we were talking earlier also about productivity and about how much time is spent on watching television, reading emails, social media. And we want to kind of help the listener restore some of their time so that they can focus on the things that are really important to them. Dr. Rich, tell us a few more of your productivity tips.
Okay, I got a couple of tips that will help with the time that's spent in those areas. And one is stop multitasking. People think that multitasking makes them more productive. And guess what? It doesn't. It can make you almost 40% less productive. How about that?
So talk to me about the difference between whatever type of productivity you're talking about and multitasking.
Okay, so we've all been guilty of multitasking. You know, you might be on the telephone talking to somebody and then doing something else at the same time, maybe reading an email. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but I've certainly been caught at it.
I think Thomas and I multitask every minute of the day.
I'm kind of laughing because I definitely need to hear this for sure.
So, but here's the thing. Most people think that, you know, this whole thing of multitasking came into play. This word came into play with the advent of computers and multiple processors and parallel processing.
Right.
So, you know, that's where that whole terminology came from. Here's the problem. The brain is a supercomputer. It's a biological computer, but it doesn't work the same as the machine computer. It actually can only focus is a key word, on one task at a time. So when you're trying to do many things at once or 2 or 3 things at once, what's really happening is your brain is starting and stopping. Starting one thing, stopping, and starting another thing. And stopping and starting, going back to that thing, starting it all over again. It's called rapid task switching. And so there's some time lost in doing that, number one. And number two, because you don't have the same focus, you tend to make mistakes.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah, and that's where that 40% less productive comes from. Because you have to go back and do things over again.
Dr. Rich, this is something I'll tell you also, that rapid task switching is something that actually is utilized in learning music, and it has to do with memory. So what isn't necessarily good for productivity is actually really good for memorization, because when you switch tasks for memorization, the brain has this really amazing ability to remember the first thing and the last thing very, very well. So when you compress the amount of information that you're trying to memorize, and then you switch it back and forth multiple times, you can actually memorize things really quickly that way. But yes, I would have to agree, it's probably terrible for productivity.
Yeah, but I think the key to that is to figure out which tasks you can multitask and which ones you can't.
So says the multitasker.
Yeah.
But I learned early on I can do anything while I'm watching TV with my husband because it's so mindless anymore. So I do a lot of multitasking, and I can always answer him when he said, "What did they just say?"
I'm not even going to comment on that one
because you know what? I can just make stuff up.
I'm told that I'm not a listener, so. So that's one thing that people do that they don't realize that if you just focus, and here's one way you can focus better. and this is another tip. This is really, really powerful tip. Schedule a meeting with yourself. Actually schedule a meeting on your calendar with yourself to work on something.
I wish this was a TV show. You could see my face right now. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, Thomas. If you and I had a meeting, we're having a business meeting, we wouldn't, if someone called, we wouldn't be picking up the phone. We wouldn't, that would be rude to interrupt in the middle of a meeting. We wouldn't pick up the phone. We wouldn't do a text. We'd be taking care of our meeting and respecting each other's time. And so when you schedule a meeting with yourself, you should treat yourself the same way. You should respect your time. No telephones, no emails, no texts, nothing. Focus for a period of time on the task that you got to do. Don't do anything
Okay,
else.
Rich, you'd be very proud of me because on the weekends I don't come into my office. But what I do is I go to my favorite coffee house with all the things I want to work on, and I do focus on that, and I don't answer the phone, and nobody there is going to come up and interrupt you. So it really works when you have work you just have to get done.
Excellent. See? Well, there we go. There we go. But I think when I tell people this, they're like, what? Schedule it with myself? Yeah. Schedule it with yourself and respect yourself, just like you would somebody else that you had a meeting with.
Yes, very effective. I wrote my first book that way in a week.
A week? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I was
the
on
power
vacation.
focus like you're talking
Got
about.
got up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. every morning, and for a few hours before everybody else got up, I just knocked it out.
So it just goes to show that it works well, works very, very well.
Very effective.
And anybody that's listening can do this.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you the number of people executives that I work with that employ this, and I teach them to do a 90-minute time frame, which is really difficult for some people. But they do one 90-minute time frame a day, and they actually end up being 10 plus times more productive than they were before.
You know something, Dr. Greene, that is a fantastic tip for the listener today. If you're listening, go ahead and get out your calendar, find 90 minutes in your day. Is it okay if they have to break that time up, or should it be 190 minute?
It's too long for me to go into the research really shows that 90 minutes is the optimal amount of time.
Perfect. Treat yourself to a 90-minute meeting with yourself, and then figure out what your results are from that, because that sounds incredible. That is something I'm going to start with today.
Well, and I think if you would log what you accomplish in those 90 minutes for a month or two, I think you have your answer as to how effective that can be for you.
There's 90 minutes that for sure you're going to get something done. You won't be interrupted by the phone or email or anything else. And then you can take care of all of those other things when you're done with your 90-minute appointment.
Just promise me, Thomas, that you'll check your email.
I will check my email. That's my solemn vow today.
Thomas, is that a purposeful thing? You do that not check your email on purpose?
Yeah, I purposely do not check it very often because of what you say. It's so distracting, and a lot of what I do when it comes to working with clients just requires a ton of focus, and for me to be focused on them and to be in a creative space. And I find that if I'm constantly switching tasks, like you say, answering the phone and reading emails and replying to emails, that I get so far away from my ability to really be my best. So yeah, I do purposely limit the amount of time I spend on email. That's great. And Dr. Rich, you've got an awesome gift for the listeners today. Tell us a little bit about it, please.
I do. I think I do. It's a lot of fun. It's actually it was one of my first books that I wrote, and I was really fascinated by the principles that made business people successful. So I went out and interviewed. Well, 100 to me always seems to be the magic number. So whenever I do research and I talk to people, and I know statistically 30 is this number, but I just love 100. So I went out and I interviewed 100 business people. And look for commonalities in the things that they thought made them successful. And I came out with a book, 10 Principles. It's called the 10 Peak Performance Principles. And I'm got that book in ebook and an audio book. And I'd love all of the listeners to have copies of that for free.
And you can find that at peakperformerbook.com. So you want to go to that website. Again, it's peakperformerbook.com. Do check it out because you've got some really invaluable insights there. And I hear that you're launching a course as well. It's coming up very soon.
Yeah, I am. It's actually Peak Performance Academy. It's based off of the 10 principles that are in the book, and it is a 30-day learning program, development program. So you really dive deep into those 10 principles and apply it specifically to your life. I'm very excited about it. I've had a number of people beta the program, and the response was just absolutely fabulous, fantastic. So 30 days, and it's about 10 to 15 minutes a day. So
cool.
You can do anything in 10 to 15 minutes a day to get some tremendous training, get some training that can help you be a peak performer, to be more productive in your life.
And they could find that at ironmanmind.com. Is that right?
They can find that at ironmanmind.com. And if you pick up the free book, at www.peakperformerbook.com, I will send you information on that program.
Very cool.
Wow. How generous is that? Thank you so much.
Rich, we didn't have a whole lot of time today to talk about your Ironman training, but just take a moment and tell us a little bit about what being an Ironman has meant for you in your business.
Well, I'll tell you. Thank you, Thomas. And yeah, you're right. I could talk. I'm very passionate about the sport. And here's what I learned, and here's what I help my clients with. There's a lot of people that teach skills out there, and with my 30 years in business, I've learned a lot, and I've learned skills and techniques that I have perfected, that I share, and that I teach my clients. But skills alone are not enough. This is what I learned about being an Ironman. What do you do when the odds are down? What do you do when you're facing the really, really tough challenges? You've got to have the winning mindset. And so that's what I bring to working with business people, is this, what I call the Ironman mind, this winning mindset.
So stick around. We're going to be back in just a moment. In the next segment of the Imagine More Success radio show, we're going to hear more about the Ironman mind, and we're going to tell you some really fun things about finding what you really want. Do stay tuned.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
The ability to access the knowledge of the universe is much easier for us to access than we may believe. Brad Johnson, conscious matrix communicator, is one of these unique individuals who is able to access a strong connection to the universal mind. Through his connection, Brad has assisted thousands of clients from all over the world through natural intuitive assistance. The intuitive information received is vast, covering a wide range of subjects. Brad's innate ability includes being able to access one's own universal matrix to help them realize their potential to create a life of profound greatness. One-on-one private sessions with Brad Johnson are available to anyone from around the world. Brad is also a proficiently trained psychic, Akashic Records reader, an online spiritual teacher, founder of his own unique and powerful healing system, Body Regeneration Healing, as well as a professional conscious channeler in communication with his own higher self-consciousness known as Adronis. For more information or to book a service appointment with Brad Johnson, visit his website at www.consciousmatrix.com. That's www.consciousmatrix.com.
Welcome back to the Imagine More Success radio show. We're so glad that you could be with us today. We were just talking to Dr. Rich Greene, who is a 5-time Ironman triathlete, and he is the owner and founder of Amplifier, and you can find him at ironmanmind.com. I mean, really fun interview today, Cindy.
We always have a fun interview, though, don't we?
Yeah, you know what? It's really cool. It's fascinating to meet all of these different people who have tremendous success in their life, who have not just made it for themselves, but really given back and then also helped other people around them to also reach the top of the mountain.
Absolutely, and Rich is really special in that regard. So I'm so thrilled that we could get him on the show today.
Yeah, a lot of our show is about reaching goals and how you can do it. So anytime that we have someone on, they really bring a lot of great information and a lot of practical information. And, I loved what he brought today about the idea of scheduling a meeting with yourself. And the funny thing is as I'm kind of recommending to do that, I was like, when could I schedule a meeting with myself? And I said, oh my gosh, I think I only have the last 90 minutes of the day, like maybe 10:30 to midnight, maybe. So
yeah, but you're kind of a nighttime kind of guy, right?
That's true too. Maybe it's important though to do it earlier. I'm not sure, but I thought that was a really fascinating takeaway from what he talked about earlier.
Well, I have to share, when I was managing 200 staffers, and I had another time I was managing 34 businesses up and down the West Coast. Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, I had to do that not just for 90 minutes, but for a whole day. Because in order to manage that size of a group, you've really got to have your act together, and it's hard to do it piecemeal. So for those of you with a lot on your plate, have an office day and maybe turn your phone off, like Rich said, and do some of the other great tips that he gave you so that you can also get a hold of that workload that you have, and then you're going to feel a lot better about everything. And I know people feel really stressed when they have all those loose ends that aren't getting done and projects that aren't organized and action plans done. So you can get all that done in your scheduled time with you.
Yeah, I just thought that was a beautiful idea. I really love that. And total agreement. Cindy, when we talk about distractions, I mean, how many times have you found that when you're working with someone that their level of distraction is adversely affecting your ability to help them kind of get where they want to go?
Well, here's one of my tough spots when I work with someone is when they're not focused on what's in front of you at the time. And, it's the squirrel effect. I have a hard time managing that when I'm trying to accomplish something with someone. And so I find what I have to end up doing is bringing them back to the point where we were so that we can get something done. Because me, I'm like, like one of those roller machines.
You're amazing. Like your ability to focus is incredible. I mean, it's really wild. And, this is a thing that really kind of sticks out for me as well, is that if you are someone who doesn't have a tremendous amount of focus and ability to focus, that's when you really have to break things into super small tasks, because what you want to do is match the type of task and the length of time of task to your length of time of focus and concentration. I thought I was a great focuser and great person for concentration until I went to this course many years ago with Dr. Marshall Thurber and listened to how long I could actually focus. And it actually changed the way that I work, because I realized that my ability to focus is, I would say, kind of right in the middle when it comes to people today. So I started breaking up tasks into much shorter sections, and kind of like the the Pomodoro technique timer, which utilizes those 25-minute sessions, that seemed to work really good for me. If I can map out 25 minutes and do it, that's great.
Well, I think the key to this is the course that you and I are writing in the next few weeks is managing your inner CEO, because it isn't just about always focusing. It's about being able to switch it up to know when you need to work this way and when you need to work that way. And everything in between, because there's a time and place for doing everything in your business and in your life, and you just have to know when that is and when to step up to that position that you're in when you're trying to achieve something.
Yes, and you know what else is really fascinating to me is the idea that, at least this is the idea that I had. I had this idea of people who are at the top of their businesses, who are CEOs, who are presidents, that they literally have every single moment of their day being super productive. They're super focused. And studies have shown that they also have focus times or focus rates that are just in like the 30 and 40%. So I assume they were just high performance 24 hours a day. But even the people who have the greatest financial results and whose jobs require a significant amount of focus and concentration, even they have a hard time with it. And most of them actually said that that's their number one issue in their business, is their own level of focus and ability to stay on task.
Well, it's like Rich was saying, is that you have to keep that in your mind, and it's your mindset.
Absolutely.
And the other secret that I have is caffeine. Okay, I'll admit it.
Yeah. You know, there's some timing with that too, right? When it comes to using caffeine.
Yeah, sometimes you got to take it up a notch and get it into high gear, although Rich probably has a way with his Ironman training of doing that naturally, but I haven't figured that one out yet, so I just have to go get my coffee or Diet Coke.
You know, the whole idea of Ironman just is absolutely fascinating to me. The idea that you swim for 2.4 miles and then you bike for 112 miles and then you run an entire marathon. I mean, think about that. That's insanity. It's amazing.
I don't know, Thomas. If I got any more focused, I think I would start scaring people.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a huge component there of that idea of determination, right? That staying determined, how important is that to your outcome, to reaching your goals?
That's the mindset. You just decide it is going to happen. I know when I wanted to have my brick and mortar business and I needed a loan, well, the banks don't want to loan people, even with perfect credit, if you haven't had a brick and mortar business before. Mm-hmm. And so when I was talking to the people I was buying the business from, they're like, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to find the money. Watch me.
Well, that's funny because that's the name of our course series is Find Hidden Money. And, you know, it's really about, you know, figuring out what skills you have, how to develop them, how to develop yourself so that you can have the tools available to you to reach the most important goals in your life and to find real and lasting success. Exactly.
And so how do we figure out what we really want? How do we do that, Thomas?
You know, there's a handful of tools that I personally use. I like to spend time in using my imagination and visualizing what I would like my perfect day to look like, what I would like my surroundings to look like, the people that I'm involved with. And that to me is a big part of figuring out what I really want, because you have a chance to kind of live in that zone and to live through your imagination and find out if what you think you want is what you really want.
Well, I'm right there with you, except, you know, I'm a writer. So what I do is I like to get a notebook and just start free writing. Sometimes there may be some wine involved. You know, a good perfect Pinot Noir or a good something else. And so what I do is I just write possibilities, because I'm a possibility thinker. And I don't think people take enough time out of their life to just think. They need to have some classes. I know they have creative thinking, or what's it called? There's a class.
Classes and...
No, it's my daughter went to one of those classes, and I thought, yeah, right, I'd like to listen in on that one. But Anyway, we just need to think, and I like to write while I'm thinking. So what I could recommend is that you just start writing all the possibilities of what you really want. And
I
then
love that.
at the end of the page 2 or 3, what you do is you look your writing over and you start highlighting, your top few ideas, maybe highlight in green. And
I
maybe
love
your
that.
second choices highlight in yellow, and just decide, gee, what is it that I want? And you could even do it by subject. You could do like, okay, so here's career and maybe the big 5 of life that we always talk about. Here's love. And maybe one of the things could be, a husband I can live with. Not kidding there, but I
Nailed
finally
it.
found one. And
Too
then
funny.
I made a list, by the way. And so then you might want to have one for health, career, money, and just free write and decide what is it that you want.
And your
And then when you
spirituality.
figure that out, and then you can just start writing your action plans on how to get it.
It's something I like after the visualization, after writing it down. I also like to verbalize, and that's literally sitting there and saying those things out loud, because you'll be really surprised by how your voice changes when you say certain things that you want. And you may even find that when you make an attempt to verbalize something that you want, you might find yourself stumbling. You might find yourself having a little trip up on some words. And that often means that you're not really 100% ready to maybe accept that into your life, or maybe it's something that you have some trepidation about. So it's a really fascinating kind of I guess, tertiary tool for figuring out what it is that you want.
And maybe you just need to hire Dr. Richard Greene or Thomas Hides or Cindy Hendricks to help you figure out what it is that you really want.
Yeah, we do always talk about that, how important it is to have a coach and have someone who can help you figure out what it is that you want, and then also help you figure out how to get it, because that's really important. And we just want to thank you again for joining us every single week. We're here to talk about the big 5 of life, to bring you information from experts on how to improve your relationships, your business, and every aspect of your life. So do come back with us next time on the Imagine More Success radio show. We look forward to spending time with you again, and hope you have a fantastic week. Just remember to realize your dreams and to imagine more success.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
Memorable dynamic presentations are a not-so-secret weapon in the business world. Do you have a powerful message that must be shared, but you haven't found a way to deliver that message? Do you want to be known as a top public speaker who gets amazing results? Are you ready to create and deliver your powerful message? Thomas Hides can help you create and deliver your speech to get the results you desire. Visit iconquality.com.
Linnea Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across a newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea Starr does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information and prophecies indeed come true, the gift in TAR.com.